Friday. Then next week we head to the lab. So this is pretty much it except for Monday and Tuesday. Now, Monday the 6th of May is being changed to area volume. That's what Mrs. Hursman's going to be doing. I'll do it in class Monday. Pardon? That's with the curves and rotate, and you get washers and that stuff. Because you know why we're going to do it? Because we know it's on the exam. I will do it Monday in class and review it. Then she'll be working on problems. Maybe I'll come back and help you guys too. I don't know. Because I'm doing BC. But, and then come in, BC, even because there are so many fewer students, come in if you want to just come and work on problems while BC's doing stuff. It's no big deal. I can do 2 things at once. Well, actually 3 things. I have the dogs too. Next week, I may come in on Thursday, depending on what the BC needs are. I don't know what their needs are because I only had 3 people last night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 6 to 8. 8. Well, we stay later than that, but don't come at 8 because that's kind of like late. And some people do, but if you can't, then come and tell us that you have whatever practice till 8, and we'll hang around.
Tuesday I have rugby practice from 7:30 to 9.
Yeah, that won't work, but you can come at 6. And you can always bring us pizza or something over Dell's. Anyway,
Don't even say that.
I know it's open now too. At the beginning of 2010, a landfill contained 1,400 tons of solid waste. Well, when I do my word problems, I like to circle that or write it down, but that's when T equals 0, the amount of waste is equal to 1,400 tons. Okay, I like to pull the numbers out of the problem. It works for me. It may not work for you, but it does for me. It says W is an increasing function, so it's either going to look like this or like that. I don't know which. Hi. And we have a differential equation right here for 20 years. Great, thank you. Okay, let me get you. Here, Patrick. There's yours. We're just going over it. I'm not counting it. But the next one will be summative. I'm not saying when it is. Okay. A, use the tangent line.
I need to know when.
No, you don't get to know. You need to be practicing every day.
I need to prepare because I have a lot of classes I'm practicing.
Yes, but this is then when you have an AP exam.
I have other.
We're first. We're pretty close to first. Okay. Okay, you guys. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it says a tangent line. What's the equation of a line? Forget the variables in this problem. No, we're not using y equals mx plus b. Y minus y1 equals m. Some people did. It's just harder for me to read it. Okay, but this is a waste problem, and we have time. So we have w and t. So what's y really? W. Minus the initial waste equals my slope, and then it's not x, it's what? T. T minus T1. And we know, now do you see that? This is, and I might have miscorrected because I couldn't figure out what you did, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to count it, so you can give yourself points if you want. But I have T equals 0 and W equals 1,400. So I'm not solving the differential equation. So I'm going to substitute those in. 1,400 equals M, and then that's T minus 0. I still don't have any points earned. You get your first point by finding the slope. And what's the slope? M equals dW, and you should be doing this with me if you didn't get it, which is equal to 1 over 25 W minus 300. This is 2011. 2012, when we did that problem, the bird problem. Go look it up. There's a video out there someplace. I know I put it up there. And I'm up to date with the videos and the smartboards. So I would do all of 2012 and work backwards because the exam's going to be closer to 2012 than 2010 even. Okay? So there's my slope. What's W? What am I going to put in here? I don't have any T, you're right, but what is W in the beginning? Okay, so maybe I misread yours. Give yourself some points if you had this because you get your point right here.
Oh, no, that I have W.
So that's 1,100 over 25. Okay, so my equation is this. Yes, I might have misgraded that, but that's okay because I'm not counting it anyway. Okay, so it's 1,100 over 25. 44. You know what? I don't care. I don't want to simplify because you were not allowed a calculator. So why waste your time? Well, let me show you an easy way. Okay, now it says to use that. I mean, I got a variety of things. If you can't see, let me know. I got a variety of responses on that. And okay, I did the arithmetic here because I could. But you could just leave it as this and put the 1/4 in. You don't have to simplify any of these things. Then it says use your line. Well, you know what? You're going to have this question on the exam. This is a 100% guarantee. So if you can't write the equation of a tangent line, you're in trouble. And everybody in here can write the equation of a line. We've worked on that all year. You might need to practice. I'm here tomorrow morning for individual help. And there's t equals 1/4. And I haven't had too many people in here. But like Scott said, he was doing the division. But guess what? When I put the 1/4 in, then it's even easier, Scott. First off, I can leave that. Looks great. What? Oh, 25, yeah. Well, I would have caught it because what? What's 4 times 25? 100. 100 goes into 1100 11 times. So it's 1411. But this was all you needed. You have time problems here. 15 minutes. Jacob, ask. If you don't see anything, if you're not getting a step, ask. We've got lots and lots to do. It does. Read the questions. Use the tangent line to approximate the waist at t equals 1/4. Okay? Now, the next part that was hard is, okay, here's the question. Is it better to circle your answer? I like to circle my answers, but the answer to that question actually is no, because if you circle the answer, I will zoom right in on that answer, and if that's wrong, then I'll grade that. If you don't circle it, but you have it someplace else, and I can sometimes ignore that. We can call it a second attempt, or a attempt that was, what it was, I forgot the words, but you just ignore your first attempt. Say, no, that's not right. Best to cross out what you don't want us to read. If you cross it out, we won't read it. However, if it's right, you cross it out, we still won't read it. Then if you have two solutions and you don't know which one's right and you don't choose one of them, you don't cross out one, then we grade both of them and we average the score and then we round down. Yeah, that's how it's done. So if you have two solutions that are different and you don't know which is which, we will read both, but if you cross one out, you're fine. But we'll read both if you don't cross them out, and we'll score both of them and we average them and we round down.
So you would cross one out?
I would suggest that if you have a pretty good feeling for that, yeah. That's right. Sometimes people don't cross the work out, but we still will consider it a restart, depending on what you have. And that's when I go to my table leader and I say to him, I'm not sure that this is a restart. What do you think? That's why there's all of us in a room together. We're in little rooms in the convention center. I should show you the pictures of the boxes and boxes. They did. Okay, let's continue. But these are good questions. And I'll let you look at the 2012 exam so you can see what it looks like. You've got it already. That's just what it looks like in the book. Okay, let's find the second derivative to this thing. Now, they asked this question in 2011, and they asked it again in 2012. My guess is they might ask it again in 2013. Now, oh, that's Polish, never mind. What was this? I know, but I have to start with the first. I'm getting that mixed up with a different problem. Okay. Okay, and W minus 300. Okay. Now, I'm hitting implicit differentiation when I talk about this, actually. And I'm hitting the chain rule. A little bit of all those things. I'm going to take the derivative with respect to time. Now, I didn't have some of you first semester, but this is how I did it. I took the derivative. That's the operator. It's like an adding sign. You can pass it through this constant, because if you don't get the second derivative right, even if you interpret your answer correctly, you still got 0 out of 2. Because I'm talking at the same time. It's the dt. There's the 25. Okay. Now, it's with respect to time. So on the left side, we get the second derivative. And I think maybe some of you may have just remembered what to do with it. I'm not sure, but it's 1 over 25. And doesn't it say in terms of W?
Yes, it does say in terms
There's a hint. If you don't have a W in there, if you just say it's 1/25 times 1, you don't have a W. So it's not in terms of W. What is the derivative of W with respect to T? It's not just 1, is it? It's dW dt.
Oh.
Okay, I think they're going to hit on that again because it was still missed in 2012. They graded that problem too.
So
Then this is 0. Okay, you get a point right here. Then you put in dW dt, which is 1/25 W minus 300.
Can we just write that as 1/25?
You can do, you can, but that's good enough. And what's true, because W is bigger than 300, what is true on my interval, and you have to say on the interval, and I saw a number of people not really justifying their answers, but I then went back to the scoring rubric. You have to say the second derivative is what? Positive. And they're asking me the question, is this an underestimate or overestimate? If the second derivative is positive, I would have liked to have seen this, that you, because that was the constant. It's 1/25 times this, and then W, dW dt is that. But you were okay right here even. But those who didn't get the dW dt there had 1/25, even though they interpreted their answer correctly, got 0 points. Now you have to say the second derivative is positive on the interval. I would leave it vague. If you don't know what the interval is. They didn't, and this is where part where I miscorrected yesterday. I think they should say it. If it's positive, then it's concave up, and therefore it's an underestimate. You had to have this derivative. That's the problem. So if you didn't have this derivative here, I didn't read any further on that part of the problem. Yeah, that's how we do it. It takes them an hour and a half to brief us on a problem. They give us all the different solutions. Should be doing it with me, especially the next part, because now we have got 4 points, I believe, and the last part is 5. And I don't know. There have been some years they haven't had a differential equation, but mostly they have, and lately they've had them a lot. So I think you have to do differential equation. We have to solve that, and they give you the initial condition. Now some people solve for W right away, and I never did that. Always separate the variables, yes. So C. Plus, I also said leave the constants on the right. That's the 1 over 25. So you don't know what to do. You walk into the exam, you look at that, and you remember, okay, I have to separate my variables. So let's multiply by dt. Scott, Henry should be doing this with me. Not, yes, but Henry should because he hasn't done it yet. So multiply by dt. Now, the only way, if you listen carefully, the only way you can separate variables is if it's multiplication, which this is. Yep, because that's multiplication. Multiplication, division are the same operation. One's just the inverse of the other. So this is W minus 300, and this is dt. I wish you could bring colored pencils and pens and things like that in there, but you cannot. So these are the W's. They're not on the same side. Okay, if that's a question, you got to have me rephrase that or somehow. The same variables have to be on the same side. You cannot mix your variables, like you can't mix your vegetables. I don't care. Whatever works. And how do you undo all that multiplying? Divide. Now leave the 25 there. You can put it on the other side, but trust me, it will give you a headache. You want W all by itself anyway. So now we have earned the first point. So, and if you don't do this, and there were a fair number of people who didn't do this, you got 0. And I was done grading. they're nice to grade, but I really want to give everybody 9s. I get excited when I get an 8 or 9. I do. It's like bingo. And you can kind of hear us all around the room kind of say, oh, yeah, we got a good one here. No, but we like to give 9s, but we're picky. Okay, now what do we do? How do you get rid of that? Brock, what do I have to integrate? It's this, you guys, some of you like to memorize. This is the thing you can memorize. Because how many times have we seen that? A lot. Now, if you don't know how to integrate the left side, let's do a U substitution. Oh, it doesn't matter. You remember that if I integrate k times f of x, that I can pull out the k? Because it's easier.
Well, I'm just wondering why you give it.
That's why I do it. I always ignore the constants. No, it's the integral of f of x. That's still there. Yeah, but that's okay. What's the antiderivative of 1? With respect to t? T. So some of you say there's no t. Well, yeah, there is. Okay. The left side is the hard part. Okay, you had to integrate both sides correctly to get this next point. So u equals w minus 300. Then what's du? It's dw. No, but on the bird problem on 2012, it was like 300 minus w, and you will mess up your signs if you don't. So I'm just doing this for those students who prefer to do this. So it's 1 over u du, because du and dw are the same, equals 1/25 dt. And you know what? If you guys want to come in after school tonight, right away, we can do that.
ln absolute value of u equals 120.
It's the coming back at night that really wears me out. But anyway, so this is the ln of the absolute value of u. Okay? Now, there were some people who did that. I'm not done. I haven't forgotten C. But some people did. And they added the C in later. Sophie, put your phone away, please. Okay? You can't add the C in later. The forgotten C, the C that comes too late, doesn't matter. You get nothing for it. It's got to come right after you integrate.
Now you just sold
I've got the point for the C. I still don't have the point for the integration because I'm in U. So I got to change that back to W. So it's the ln of the absolute value of W minus 300. Now, those of you who have paid attention to me, okay, guess what I've got? I've got 1, I've got 3 points, and I write it just like that on my scratch paper. You don't get scratch paper. Everything goes in your book. Okay, Haley, question? Questions? So I got 3 points out of my 5, and the next point's easy. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Have I ever solved for W now, or do I put in the ordered pair first? I put the ordered pair in first. What does the scoring rubric do? It solves for W. So when you solve for W right away, that tells me you're just memorizing the scoring rubric. It's too hard. The algebra is harder to do it that way than it is to put the 0, 1400 in. Whoops. Question. Well, don't solve for W. Put this in right here. So it's the natural log of 1400 equals 0 plus C. No. Just substitute it in right away. So that's 0. No, C is the log of 1100. Now, I've now got my 4th point. So I'm at 8 out of 9.
How do we do this if we're not allowed to calculate? Do we just leave it as that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So then,
Okay, guys, let's put that in here. I have to leave it here so I can see it. I'll slide it up in a second. But there were a fair number of people who solved for W, and they got this K value. And where are you getting that? You're getting that from the scoring rubric. That means you're not doing it. You need to do it. Because you should be asking me, where did they get the K? Now, I'm not done until I solve for W. Now let's raise that to the E. Can there be a number out in front here? Some people have this, and you can do this, but the question is that equal to 25 times, I'm not sure what you want to say to that. I'm saying, that's why it's in red, that there were some people who did this. Are these the same thing? No. You can't do that. When you do e to the ln of f of x, you cannot have a number in front of ln. I don't care what number, it's got to be 1. So if you did get your 25 here, I would divide by 25. You have to have e to ln of something. You can't have any constants multiplying out there.
I think you just lost it.
Some people had this, and then they went to that. You can't do that.
Oh.
This
No
has
wonder
to
you
be
lost
a 1. Yeah, but I see it all the time, especially graded. Okay, no calculator. So we're going to do e to this and e to that. What's the left side? Okay. I guess. Now you could simplify the right side, but since we don't grade it for simplifying, why would you? Courtney, you should be doing this problem with me. You guys, if you don't work now, this whole year for you has been a waste. You get 2 weeks of hard work to make up for months of hard work, so do it now. In this case, it has to be exact because it's not a calculator problem, but 3 in general. If you want to be safe about the decimals, keep them all. Just keep them all. We never look beyond that. Okay? Now, how do you solve for W?
Okay, wait. Let's see where you leave off.
Right there.
You left off with the absolute value. Okay, so you add 300.
No, first I have to say this is equal to the plus.
Yes, that to the that, yeah. Write that in. At 300.
Okay. What? I can, but don't. It is simpler that way, but what if you break it up wrong? I saw this. Well, it's extra work. I saw this. Is this true?
No.
No. Well, I still saw that here. I saw it lots on the exam, but I saw it here. I don't want to see that. So why do it? What it is, if you want to, it's this. But you don't have to. This is times e to the ln of 1100, which gives you 1100 e to the t over 25. Oh, yeah, I prefer that too. But you know what? We're just trying to assess what you know. So I'm going to leave it in the exponent. It's messy looking, but it doesn't matter. So I get that one, and I also get this one. You will have to cross one of them out or circle the other one you want. I don't care. But you're going to have to somehow let the reader know which one you want. And how do you decide? Is it plus e to that power, or is it minus? Henry, how do you decide? No, it's not guessing. Although you have a 50-50 chance. It goes to the point 0, 1400. That's a solution to this equation. It will only make either A true or B true. It will not make both true. So if I put it in the first one, I get 1400 minus 300. Is that equal to e to the 0, because 0 is 1/25th of t of 0 is 0, plus the log of 1100. That's that's 300 there. 1100, is that equal to e to the log of 1100? Yeah. So it's the first one. So I will cross out that one. But we're not done. Now this is all for 1 point, you guys. So you're looking at your time. Shh. You've spent 15 minutes already on this problem. I will. This has a minus sign. Let me circle it. That's a minus one.
There you go.
This is a plus one. I know it's hard to see.
Didn't see that. Oh, why is the minus there?
Because
absolute value
when you solve an absolute value equation, you get a plus
plus or
and a minus.
be positive or negative.
But be careful because often it's the minus. So I get,
Plus we show the negative. Oh, one.
No.
Full credit.
No, you don't, but you better have the right one. And unless you check, somebody said this is a lot of work. Yes, it is from one point. If you are running near the end of your 15 minutes for this problem, I wouldn't bother with it. This is still not done. A number of people thought they were done. It's not done until you add 300 to both sides.
Yeah. So you get W equals E should be 1.
Yes, it's 1100 times that, but who cares? Just don't bring that log of 1100 down, because a lot of people did that too. The minute you make an algebra mistake, even though everything else is right, we take the point back. So there's no point in simplifying, especially if you're doing the trapezoidal rule or any of those things. Okay, do we understand tangent lines a little bit better? Scott?
What,
And Diffie Qs.
what problems should I be doing to be prepared for this test?
All of them. You should have been doing them. I told you, start with 2012. So we still have some more theorems to do. I don't know if we're going to get to them today, but
For this first surprise quiz, should I be doing like a related rate for the volume or
all of them.
that's not
So let's look at what we did.
can't just do it all?
I'm not going to do volume because we haven't really talked about it, but anything I've talked about is fair game.
Why are we having
Anything I've talked about is fair game. Now, let's do 2012 number 3, but I'm going to give you their packet from last year. Yeah, I know. There it is. Okay, this is the actual test. You will see this. I don't know, it might not be pink, it might be green or blue, who knows. And so,
Yeah, this once you put this in their book, I really think I'd like a different one.
why?
It says hope I can do something stupid.
Well, this is what you see. So then this is what you're going to see on the exam. You'll have the problem written into the exam, which is different. We used to get an insert. So there's going to be no problems. You could still have copy errors, but the copy errors should go down.
Can I have a meter one?
That's what I say sometimes. Why don't we do one of these problems? We could do the trig one. For sure we should do
Which one?
wait, number 6. Okay, let's not forget to do number 3, because that's what we talked about yesterday with the fundamental theorem. 3 is the fundamental theorem. Number 6 on this is the very last one. The first 2 are calculated, none of the rest are. I'm sorry, what? Nope, you don't get the score or anything else. We do not write on these at all.
How do we know this is right?
You don't. So let's do the problem and let you grade it. Well, you guys said you wanted to do number 6. It's a max min problem. It is an acceleration velocity problem. This one's hard. So let's do that. I wanted to do 3. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Hang on, I got to bring up the right one. So, you guys, get another piece of paper out. Do not write in these, and then do the problem with me. And you can look at this at the same time if you want and score it, but don't write it. Okay, and you see some of the problems. I mean, this one's not bad to read, but you know, if we can't read it, and you're going to run into some, you're going to say, I can't read this. Look at the person who's sitting next to you and what theirs looks like. Sometimes they're empty.
He gets the nice one. I get this one that
That makes up for how quick my
he gets the one that looks like I wrote it, and I get the one that looks like he wrote it.
I wish I wrote that as well.
Okay. Gosh, why do you always do particle questions?
Oh, what? How do you
Particles deposition X.
Sorry, it's going to have lines in it.
What is
Okay. Okay. There's a lot of good stuff in here, actually. Okay? Ready? Okay, we haven't done velocity acceleration, but it's kind of a max min problem. But it's okay. We'll do it now. I don't know where it was. It's Friday, so that's fine. We just do it now. We still have to go through those other theorems. We've only gone through 2. Okay, particle moves along the axis. There is a closed domain. That might be important. And the velocity is given to us. And the particle starts at t equals 0. The position's -2. That is the x position. Okay?
Oh, I hate this already.
A. when is the particle moving to the left? Do you remember how to know if a particle is moving to the left?
Both the velocity and acceleration.
No, that's the speed of slowing down. Velocity's negative. I would write that down. I haven't looked at the scoring rubric. I didn't grade this one. Velocity would be negative, it's decreasing. Velocity would be positive. Yeah, but it's also going to the left. Yeah, this is a particle motion one. It is, it's decreasing. It's going to the left. I don't know how it's moving or what's generating, but it's doing this. It might stop and come back. Remember those particle motion problems? Not right now. Let's do this in order. So the velocity has to be negative. So we have the cosine of pi over 6t has to be less than 0. I suspect we get a point for that. Let's see. There it is. I think I got a point. You guys made me go back fast, so I don't know. Okay, so guess what? We have to find out where that's 0. Now, solving trig equations is a problem a little bit. Okay, so let's do it this way. It's the cosine of theta is less than 0. So let's look at the cosine curve, and I'm just going to take a regular cycle here, and there's 2 pi. Where's this? No. This is pi.
That's pi, that's 1/2 pi.
This is pi over 2. This is 3 pi over 2.
So close.
So so theta, we'll be careful. Theta will be between 3 pi over 2 and pi over 2. I'm just looking at one cycle right now. Question?
Well, I just wondered, when are we getting our particle?
Friday. Friday's when Doc Swanson's going to come in here and work with us. Yeah, but we still, and you guys who have already got yours, bring your stuff and work on problems.
Still needs the paper.
No, I don't think so. Okay, ready? Okay. Yes. When is it moving to the left? It's when the velocity is negative.
Yeah.
Now,
Really want to know.
can you not interrupt? We don't have time. Sorry. Now, what's theta? They're asking questions. It's pi over 6. So pi over 6t is between 3 pi over 2 and pi over 2. What's going to cancel out of all those? Pi. They just give you an answer. What? I can get rid of the pi's. So now I have 1/2 is less than t over 6 is less than 3/2. I don't want the t over 6, so what will I multiply by? 6. Now I want the t there. So where is t between?
3 and 9.
T is between 3 and 9. Now the velocity is 0 at 3 and 9, so it stopped. So you probably shouldn't include that. Now, that's it. Says when is it moving to the left? Between 3 and 9. Is that in my domain between 0 and 12? Yes. I don't know. Let's go back and look at the scoring rubric. I didn't grade this one, so I don't know.
B is extremely easy.
Okay, and this is last year's. So last year I've seen once. Last year. Okay, the particle, okay, you guys? Considering where the velocity is 0 and the interval, if you include 3 and 9, no. If you have one endpoint wrong, no. You get your point for looking for the zeros. So if you look at this, the one I'm looking at, they said when the cosine is negative, this particle is moving to the left. They didn't get the v of t equal to 0. Well, they did. X is between that. Boy, I don't know how they would have graded that. I don't know if they'd get anything on the one I'm looking at. How about the ones you guys are looking at? They have to have the correct interval And they have to be looking where V of t is 0. I think they would give it to you, V of t is less than 0, moving to the left. Give them a point for that. I don't know because I didn't grade it.
Yeah, the first one I have here, it's all points.
Okay?
Dividing
Okay, ready? Yes. You could find your zeros, which are 3 and 9, but then you have to know how to graph that. That's why I did it the way I did it, because I don't know how to graph that. I know you learned in pre-calc, and I taught it in pre-calc, but do I even remember? No, because it's not that important to know. I change it to theta and find out where that is going to be 0 or between 0 be negative, and then I switch it back to the pi over 6t. Just 0 to, no, just 3 to 9. This is the only place it's negative. That's 3 on my new graph. You could, if you want to do the stretch, you could do it that way. I didn't, but you still have to know it's pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, let's continue before we run out of time. So what should you do tonight if we don't finish this? Finish this. And maybe work on some other problems. I think I had on the board. That might be BC. Also, you should be working on multiple choice questions. We are running out of time. That's why we have to use our time in class. Right, but do not evaluate an integral expression, hint, hint, it's an integral, that gives the total distance. Do you guys remember the distance?
Yes. It's not the absolute value.
Yes, it is. Distance, not displacement, is the integral of the absolute value of the velocity. Displacement, these are your notes. I'm not going to do this again. Displacement is the integral of v of t dt. Okay, see the difference? Okay, so we want the total distance. This is easy, isn't it? Between what? 0 and 6.
Yeah.
So we are going to integrate the absolute value of my velocity, which was, what was it? Cosine of pi over 6. Cosine of pi over 6t dt.
I realize the question.
Yes, you may just write v of t from 0 to 6. My guess it's only 1 point. It has to be absolute value. Nope, that's it. Just absolute value. This is distance. There's displacement. There's your notes for that. So we'll do that later. This is just saying how far does it travel. It isn't saying where do you end up. Remember those questions in the textbook that were like that. But I'm going to use the fundamental theorem. I'm hoping to get there. Did I do that right? I haven't done this since last year. I've done this problem once. That's it, 1 point. That's all there is. So we have now earned, hopefully, 3. But I think A was probably a problem for people. Then it's wrong. It's all wrong. If you forget the dt, not a problem. Because if we did that, our scores would be lower. Because people don't put the differentials in. Okay, ready for the next one? Okay. Oh, find the acceleration of the particle. Oh, this is one of these. So how do you find the acceleration?
Derivative of the velocity.
Yeah. So acceleration equals dv dt. So I'm going to take the derivative with respect to time of this. Seriously, you guys, this is not hard. But be careful because you have the chain rule. And if you really can't do that, yeah. What's the derivative of cosine? Negative sine of pi over 6t times the derivative of this. Okay. Now, just to challenge you a little bit, it says, I want to know if the speed of the particle is increasing, decreasing, or neither at t equals 4. So you have to find a of 4, and you have to find v of 4. Now, wait a minute. This one always gets me. Is it speeding up, slowing down, or are we trying to see if the velocity is increasing? We are trying to see if the speed is increasing. That's the speeding up, slowing down. Do you remember how that worked? If the velocity acceleration were the same, it's speeding up. If B and A are the same sign, it's speeding up. That's why we're reviewing. You were in my class, you did. If B and A are opposite signs, it's slowing down. Remember, I talked about dropping the pen. And if you are going to want to work with me after school, you must let me know. Otherwise, I take off. Okay, if I drop the pen, is this speeding up or slowing down? Because the velocity is negative and acceleration is negative. They're both the same sign. So what's A of 4? A of 4 is negative sine of 4 pi over 6 times pi over 6. Do I need to find the value of, guys, do I need to find the value of that? Well, it's 2/3 pi. What quadrant are we in? I'm just going to think. 2/3 pi, so it's 2 pi over 3. What angle is that? Okay, you guys, I'm going to reteach this quickly. What angle is that? 60. I want to say it's 30. That's 2 times 6. That's 2 60-degree angles. So where are we? Here's the first one, and here's the second one. So you're over here. So remember, you got to be quick here. All students take calc. Is the sign positive in the second quadrant? You have from me, because I've done it. The sign's positive. All of them are positive. Tangent's positive. Cosine's positive. Otherwise, they're negative. So guess what? The acceleration at 4 is less than 0. Correct? Because the sign in this quadrant is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative.
Where does it ask for the angle?
It says at t equals 4. Is it speeding up or slowing down? Yes. Shh. Can't hear you. I don't know what the velocity is. Then it means the other two are negative. This is just quick and dirty, to tell you the truth. Okay, yes. I'm okay. You thought what? We still have to find V of 4. Okay, shh. It's the cosine of 4 pi over 6. That's it, because there's no chain rule there. Now, the cosine, that's still the same quadrant. Is the cosine positive or negative? Negative. So what's this particle doing? It's speeding up. I believe that was the question. I have a hard time with the speeding up, or is the velocity increasing? They sound the same to me. So I'm going to go look. Should we go look? You have the answers? Okay, there it is. Now, they found the values, but we don't care. All you have to do is say this. And then the speed is increasing because velocity and acceleration have the same sign. Now, this used to be question 2 on the exam. It could still be question 2, but I think you'll have a particle problem. If what? Oh, okay. If you have the value wrong, it depends on the question leader for this question. If the question leader says, if you get the value wrong, we have the right sign, you don't get the point, that's the way we do it. I wasn't part of this question, so I don't know how they graded it, but the fewer calculations you make, the better.
So when it's asking if the particles increasing, that's when they
Is speeding up or slowing down?
asking is the particle increasing.
It's the same thing. If they have to give you speed. They can't just say, is the particle increasing? That doesn't make sense. But they could ask, is the velocity increasing?
So if they ask that,
That's different than speed. If they want to know if the velocity is increasing, then what would you look for to find out if a function is increasing? Its derivative is positive. Any function you want to find out if it's increasing, its derivative is positive. Now, what are we up to? 6 points. That's not too bad. You get 6 out of 9. You can go to AP Central and you could look up the commentaries and they'll tell you what the average was on this. I'm going to guess it was about 4. I mean, just Yeah, can you guys get 6? We haven't even looked at the last question. What's the last question?
What is the position?
Oh, that's easy.
Well, it's easy if you kind of.
Well, why? You know why it's easy? Because we're reviewing it. I want the position here. This is the fundamental theorem of calculus. Question?
Oh, I was just wondering how many points do we need to get on average to get a 5?
6 out of 9. Yeah. It's 2/3. Okay, we have a tighter grading scale than that because everything we do is isolated. Now, this is all pushed together. So now you've got to grab this unit and put it together. So how do you find your position? You integrate the velocity. That gives you your position, gives you x of t, evaluated. Now, I know something. I know the position at 0. And I want to find 4. So it's equal to x of 4. Yeah, please, you can just leave them on the tables. Just leave them on the tables.
Blew it up.
There it is.
And then I had fun with where
And you just, it said, you can integrate, you might have issues integrate. No, just leave them on the table. Leave them on the table. I can right now if you want. You have to integrate the cosine, and that's when I do a use substitution. So it's the integral of the cosine of pi over 6t. They aren't going to give it anything easy. Equals x of 4 minus x of 0.
Do I need to worry about making up that exam from yesterday?
No, that it just gave it to you. I'm not counting it.
Okay. So I don't need
Plus this integral.
and I'm not going to be able to make it into help. I have to.
Do I have the papers from you? Do you have papers? Yes.
It might be if I.
Well, that's okay, because we're in a new unit. Then u is equal to pi over 6t. du is pi over 6 dt. So this integral becomes 6 over pi, the integral of the cosine of u, du, and this is 0 to 2 pi over 3. Well, it's 4 pi over 6. I just reduced it. And you know what? You don't even have to evaluate it. All you have to do is substitute it in. It's 6 over pi. Integral of cosine is sine of u. No. Not quite done. 6 over pi. And then we do the sine of 2 pi over 3, but don't evaluate it. Minus the sine of 0. Just leave it. That's perfectly good. Even though that's 0, and I can figure out that one.
Wait, suddenly, another problem. I'm just kind of confused.
Oh, you got a lot of problems in here.
Wait, I'm just trying to, I always forget to, like, switch to you.
You got to
Switch to you.
either that or go back to the t's.
But since you know originally x of 0 is -2,
Yes.
so where does that
Oh, I
play
forgot my.
into it?
I just did the integral here. It's right here.
So then that's the integral.
This is negative
that's
2
the integral,
plus
and then you would,
that stuff down
then
there.
you would add 2. Or no, you
Plus all of this. No, it's negative 2. It's negative 2. X of 0 is negative 2, so it's
but
minus
if
a
it's
negative
minus
2.
-2,
So that's plus 2. Putting it on the other side becomes minus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you keep it. I'm not counting it.
But is